All right. One of you just got a laugh out loud from me. Checking audio. Laugh out loud from me. There it is. Checking audio. Yeah. Good morning, 9 o'clock a.m., June 19th, 2023, on a Monday. We start another week. Oh, it's a holiday. Today's a holiday, Juneteenth. And I deduced, I haven't looked it up, I haven't Googled it up, but I'm deducing that how do you define, how do they know what day is the holiday of Juneteenth? And I'm thinking it, whatever Monday falls on a teenth day. And then I thought, how many teenth days are there in numbering? So you start with 13 because 12 is not a teenth. 13 is a teen, right? Up to 19. Those are the teen days, I guess. And there's only 7 of them. So there can only be one Monday in June that is a teen day. I don't know what Juneteenth is supposed to be celebrating or commemorating. We'll probably know by the end of this stream because somebody might Google it. I have no idea. Okay, what do we got over here in chat? I'll pop out chat instead of switching over to it because then we get the weird mirror or picture-in-picture effect. And zoom it in a bit and then get away from my Fortnite stream deck buttons over to here. Jesse Pinkman says he was first, and Dennis was the first one to hit like, and Jesse says, I liked in my screen. Nick Poverman, did you hear the one about the bossy man at the bar? He ordered everyone around. You got to laugh out loud from me, but that's not the one that you saw when I started the stream. Speedy C like number 4, Jeff Ryman, good morning. Brian Lightfoot, this is the one. Only 364 more days until Father's Day, because yesterday was Father's Day. My daughter and my grandson were over here. My grandson turns 10 years old in a couple weeks. Alice is here. Hello, Alice. Good to see you. Carl J. Oystein, hello. Celestia Guru, hello. I'm kind of thinking I may have seen your name here before, but don't quite recognize it. So welcome. Good to have you here. Dennis says, good morning. Pausing stream so I can watch Hexona's last match of the day. Celestia Guru. Another name for today's holiday is Emancipation Day. Emancipation as in a teenager who is emancipating from their parents. Is that the idea behind that? It's interesting that us adults would be celebrating that. Alice says, Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States. I didn't realize it was a federal holiday. So that means no mail today, right? Commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. Ah, that makes more sense. It wasn't emancipation also a thing that kids can file against their parents to be freed from their parental, if they have a bad family environment, something like that. So that makes a whole lot more sense. It's emancipation of enslaved African Americans. And that is I guess I try to stay away from politics, but good. I like that holiday. Deriving its name from combining June and 19th. Oh, so is it always on the 19th? Maybe it's not on a Monday then. So it's celebrated on the anniversary of the order by General Gordon Granger proclaiming freedom for enslaved people in Texas on June 19th. Okay, I stand corrected. It is not on the Monday in June. That was just my deduction. Juneteenth is always June 19th. Commemorates end of slavery. Thank you. Celestia Guru, I did it again, sigh. Did what again? That sounds like you're disappointed that you did it again, sigh. I don't understand what you're disappointed about if that's what you meant. Anyway, John Williams, hello and good morning. Greg M. Slavery. Speedy C, hi Doug in chat. Selden Ball, today's holiday is only 2 years old as a federal holiday. I had a suspicion that it was only recently declared as a federal holiday. So Today is the second time we've celebrated it. Last year would have been the first. So does that count as 2 years, even though it's only 1 year apart? It was only 1 year and a day ago that we celebrated it. Well, I guess it's actually 1 year ago that we celebrated the first time. And so today's the second time. So does that count as 2 years? Or does that count as twice in 1 year? Black Serendipity, belated happy birthdays. Happy, belated happy Father's Day. Same to you, Black Serendipity. Oystein, we have a Father's Day in November, but I called my father to salute him anyway yesterday. Very good, Oystein. Seldom Ball, I forgot to change my YouTube account. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Rick Lakes, hello. Okay, so what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to go over to an email that I received, not an email that I received, 3 emails that I received from Lawn Dog. Very prolific, but actually this first one is his first draft, and then he explained something about the email that he sent me, and then this one is kind of I think, the result. So I'm not going to read through this because it's kind of long, but there are 3 topics that I'm going to respond to, but I will bring it up so that if anyone wants to read through it, you can go back in DVR mode and pause the video. So I'm just going to briefly show the different sections of this email, and you can go back and read it and pause the video and read through that if you want to. But I'm going to respond to 3 of the topics that he brought up that I'd like to give my thoughts on, in part because on Saturday, after reading these comments, I realized on Saturday I said something that might have been a little misleading and cause you to have a wrong conclusion about my billing practices. So yeah, I'm going to get through all of this before I start talking about that. You can see how many times I've gone down another page worth, although this is zoomed in. So the normal email size is not this long. So there we go. So then I'll go the topics. He brings up the topic about fixing stuff, that the type of person that does my kind of work and the kind of work that he likes to do is the type of person who all their life has been the person in the household who likes to fix stuff. And that always reminds me of a situation back on Christmas. In my family home, I was probably a teenager. Lots of wrapped presents in the living room. The family was getting ready to open presents, and they had to call me out of the kitchen because I was in the kitchen totally engrossed in trying to repair the toaster. And that was what I was having fun with on Christmas, is trying to repair the toaster, and I have to be pulled away from that to go open presents. That's the kind of personality or persona or interest a person has that is good in this business of wanting to try to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it. So that's one of the things that Lawn Dog brought up. Then another one that he brought up was working. I talked about charging the time that I spend working on computer, and you might get the impression that I charge for all the time that I spend on it all the time, and that's not quite true. There are times, and you've seen me do it on this channel, where I'll get to a point with a computer where the smart person would say, it's time to wipe and reload. It's time to save the data, move the data off somewhere else, and do a wipe and reload. But I'll dig into it further because Curiosity Doug wants to dig further. I don't charge for that time. When I choose to waste time, to spend time, whether you call it waste or spend, that can be argued. But if I choose to take the time to dig deeper and try to fix something instead of doing a wipe and reload, I don't charge them for that. I charge them for what it should have cost if I've gone through reasonable amount of troubleshooting, perhaps even including some misdirections on the troubleshooting, and then the time that it would have taken it to repair if I had made the smart technician choice of how to go about it. So there are times when I don't charge for all the time that I spend pursuing something. And then another thing that he brought up is how many times we've heard, well, I've heard of several times, maybe some of you have too, Somebody took their computer to Best Buy to get it fixed, and it came back as a functional computer. But what they did is they did a wipe and reload without taking any precautions about the person's data. When you take a computer to a service place such as Best Buy, I suspect somewhere in the fine print, you are obligated to have already backed up your data, and that it gives them freedom to do a wipe and reload. It's probably in that fine print. I don't know for sure. I haven't checked it. If somebody comes across an opportunity to check the fine print of one of their work orders, that would be interesting to have a confirmation on that. So those are the things that I wanted to respond to there. Then I'm going to go to channel comments because I'm a little bit behind in this. Fadio left this comment 6 days ago, and I am delinquent in responding. My apologies. Said, still getting errors. Anyone has a fix? And this was on the video that I have titled Why Virus Total in Auto Runs is Producing Errors. So I showed some things there. Fadio is apparently still having troubles. Now I'm going to send him a link, a reply to this comment, letting him know where I replied in this video. So Fadio, we'd be happy to try to help you with that. The way we can go about that is I do these live streams Monday through Friday, same time every morning. You can go to find when my next show is. You can go to a browser window and type youtube.com/LWTDB, which is the acronym for my channel, Live Windows Training-DougBetts, /live. And that will show you my next scheduled video or the current live stream in progress. Now, if that just takes you to my channel, like to here, that would be because I don't currently have a live stream scheduled. If you check again in a few hours, you'll probably find it. But it starts at the same time every day. Now, the way that we can help you with that, Fadio, is you can interact in the chat room, or you could just make comments on video if you're not able to come in during a live stream. And I'll ask you questions. You give some responses. You could send me an email or just put a comment on this video that you're watching right now as to what's going on. So we need more detail. Give us a screenshot of the error. Maybe tell us a little bit of an explanation about what you've done to work on it. Then myself and the chat room will give you some response, some ideas of what to do next and trying to track it down. Here's my email address, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. You can pause the video at this point if you need some time to capture that. So after this live stream is finished, I'm going to go back and thumbs up and heart his comment and reply to it and give him a timestamp for this point in the video. The next comment from Speedy C, who's a regular viewer on this channel, regarding message timestamp 5:18. I think that means at 5:18 in the video. It says, hi, Doug. I understand where you're coming from regarding Alice's computer problem while playing the Sims game and the CPU ramping up. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so it's easier for you to read. I have an HP PC year 2009. And he gives us some information about what he's doing with it, mainly coding for Visual Studio 2019. He makes a comment in here about, I hate to hear this PC CPU ramping up for long periods of time. I'm always fearful of having a PC hang up on me. Let's see, somewhere, all my computers have been pre-built with CPU graphics, not a GPU. It's a little more rare for integrated graphics for a fan to ramp up, but if your computer is built that way, it's supposed to do that when you're working it hard. But if the fan is ramping up when you're not working it hard, you're not doing something that you would expect it to be working hard for, then that is a problem. That is something to be concerned about. Makes another comment here. Yeah, Doug, I was led to believe if a PC is being sluggish, having any type of fan kicking in for a long period of time, it was bad for the PC and could cause a fan failure for any PC, especially for an all-in-one PC. There are times when this could be true. I don't think that's the case with Alice's computer because her fan is ramping up when she's playing that game. That should be happening. But if you have a PC that's being sluggish, not with playing a game, or even with playing a game, if it's being sluggish where it didn't used to be sluggish, which is Alice's situation, the fan kicking in for a long time was bad for her PC. Uh, this brings up a subject we have not talked about for Alice. It could be the case that if she were to open the computer up and look at the fan and the heat sink for the CPU, it could be clogged up. We haven't, nobody's come, I don't think anyone's come up with this idea, is that it might be simply a matter of blowing out the the uh, the CPU cooler. The fins on it can get clogged with dust, causing the fan to ramp up sooner or earlier than it used to. Hang on. Alice, if you're having your fan ramp up when you're not playing the game, not stressing the computer much, then that could be a source of all of your trouble. Could it be that all of the trouble that you're having is because your CPU is getting hot and throttling? Now, you could see that in that hardware info. Now, I tried to show that the other day. I know I've seen a place in here before where it shows, or someplace somewhere that shows if a computer is throttling. If the CPU is getting warm and the fan's ramping up, that's okay as long as it's not throttling. I know where we could see that. We could see that on the clock speed of the cores. I think it's up here and I have to expand one of these. Core effective clocks. Yes, core effective clocks. So when you're looking at the core effective clocks, look at the current and minimum and maximum and average. Is this where we get to see throttling? Come on, somebody, help me out. I thought there was a place in here where it actually shows throttling. Hardware info forum, mash clock, buzz clock, core clocks. How about here? Something about throttling. I thought there was a place in here where we could see if throttling was happening. So Alice, when she's playing the game and whether or not she's getting the sluggishness, if she sees any throttling records in hardware info or anywhere else, then open the computer up, blow out or check the fins on the CPU cooler, see if there's dust, and whether you see it or not, then blow it out. Thread usage, core utility, on-demand clock, thread report, system counters. Don't see the word throttling there. It's thread usage. Is anybody, I'm looking over here. Alice says, I will check this. Thank you. I don't see anyone telling me where the throttling can be seen. Yeah. All right. So back to Speedy C's comments. I'm not going to read it all, but you can of course pause the video. Doug, since joining LTD, I've learned something new every time on your Saturday shows as well. More of a software installation guy than hardware. All the best. Okay, very good. Thank you, Speedy C. I did read all the way through that previously. I'm kind of sketching over it. It's interesting to know that you're a Visual Studio hobby coding, you're saying. Okay, so let's go give you a thumbs up and a heart. And then the most recent one, Matthew Barnes, one day ago. Hey, Doug, I'm a few days behind watching Windows Daily, but two things early in the stream. At 10:16, when you said you get a heart, everybody gets a heart. It reminded me of this famous Oprah clip. Yeah, that's exactly what I was alluding to. You get a heart. You get a heart. Everybody gets a heart. That's an Oprah thing. Although, why did I want to say, you get a heart, you get a heart, everybody gets a heart, heart? There's some kind of nursery school rhyme. Everybody gets a heart, heart. It's something else. It's not about hearts. Also, I heard a rumor about Windows 12 from some guy called DougBetts saying it will come out in the future. Wow, is that an amazing prediction? Windows 12 will come out sometime in the future. You get a thumbs up and a heart too. Okay, let's go over to chat. Let's see. I don't think I have any bookmarks for any favorites showing for today. Yep, no, I don't. Yes, no, I don't. Yes, no. All right. Here's my last. Oh, that one did. That one stayed blue. Nick Poverman, my office was closed on Friday for Juneteenth. This is the second year that they closed for the holidays. So they closed on Friday, even though today's a holiday. Seldon Ball, SB equals CG. I don't know what that is. Dang, that is long, the email. Seeing a lot more captures on some sites, and the photos are so grainy, it's hard to tell. I had to go through, I was on the phone with a client this morning. We got challenged in captures 3 times. And one was click all the frames that have a bicycle. Well, the rider of the bicycle was above the frames that had the bicycle. So do you click the ones that include the bike rider that's on the bicycle? Well, I did include them, and that took me to another one, and it wanted me to do all the ones that had, I want to say it was buses, but no, it wasn't. But it was something similarly where, do I click these related frames or not? And then one was the stairs. So I clicked the frames that had the stairs, not the ones that had the porch on top of the stairs. I do not like captchas. I do not like green eggs and ham. Sam, I am. The first federal Juneteenth was 2021, so this is the third countrywide celebration. 23 minus 21 is 2 years. So the first one was on June 19th. The second was on June 19th. The third one is on this June 19th. So that's 3 holidays over the span of 2 years if you're counting backwards from today. Wintermute, customer's responsibility to back up data storage from Best Buy. Yep, there it is. Customer's responsibility. Backup. If I search for the word backup here, back. Customer's responsibility to back up data. If you don't read through the fine print when you sign their work order, then it's on you. They are free to go do a wipe and reload without calling you. Customer agrees prior to servicing. Customer's responsibility to back up. Yeah, how many people were not aware of that? Because I kind of doubt that they ask you that or ask you that over the counter. Have you backed up your data? Thank you, Wintermute. Black serendipity to Greg M. A feeble, pointless attempt to secure a site. Utter nonsense. Greg, let's see. How are we doing on time? Oh, I haven't looked to see who's got a show. Let's go do that. Rather than asking if Carrie or Ken has a show, I'll just go find out, because once you tell me yes, I got to come in here anyway. Oh, but I got to do a refresh. I got to do a refresh first, because it doesn't count if I don't do a refresh. Because if Ken has created a show since I opened this browser tab, then I won't see it in here. And nope, nothing there. So I'll go ahead and give you a redirect to my Fortnite show tomorrow, and then come back to the chat room. Greg to Wintermute. Haven't been in Best Buy in a decade, but they used to have signs warning as the end user's responsibility to do backups. Yeah, if you don't read the sign when you're walking in there, too bad, so sad. John to Rick. Desktop switch was defective, got it replaced. Amazon did not want the old one back. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Greg, it also depends if the custom built system, the fan curve that is set in the UEFI that ramps up depending upon the temperatures, the fan temperatures. Yeah, I've seen that. John Williams, I'm picking up an HP all-in-one at the end of today. No, I'm not going to take that. Yes, I'm going to take that. Hang on a moment. I'm going to mute. Okay, confirming I unmuted successfully. That's my pest control service. They're outside my house right now, so I need to find out if they need to talk to me. They're just letting me know they're here. I'm picking up HP all one of the ends today. They don't want it back. I am picking up a HP all-in-one at the end of today, and they don't want it back. They said it's running slow. I will let you know what I find. Oh, okay. So it's running slow. They're just giving it to you to deal with. All right, cool. Alice is going to check that about the fan possibly being dusty. Perhaps Windows 10 already came out in an alternate universe. Yeah. Throttling is under CPU 0, Core Max. Thank you. Throttling is under CPU 0. Let's close these up a bit. See if I can find something called CPU. Oh, here's CPU 0. Throttling. Okay, let me look at that again. I can drag this off. Is under CPU 0 Core Max. So here's CPU 0 Core Max. Here's another CPU 0, another CPU 0, another CPU 0. CPU 0 for you, CPU 0 for you, CPU 0 for all of you. Which one has Core Max? Here's another CPU 0. So that's not enough to get me there. Can I do a Control F? No. Which one of these is it? Can you help me better there, Greg? I'm looking at chat over here. Throttling is under CPU number 0, Core Max. CPU number 0. I don't see any of these that says Core Max. CPU 0, GPU. No, so it's probably a sub-item under one of these CPU zeros. I'll collapse all of them, so there's 4 of them. Which one of these? You might recognize it by one of these. Is it DTS or Enhanced or C-State Residency, or the first one that has nothing else? CPU, oh, Max. There's CPU Max, thread usage. Maximum value of all current core thread. Note that task manager, I don't see anything there about it. Let's see, that was Greg M. Looking over here, Greg. On this older system, it's under the second CPU 0. This older system, I think he's referring to his older system. Core temperatures, distance to Jmax, Core Max. There it is, thermal throttling. So it's under the second CPU. Thermal throttling is all says no. So Alice, if you check here, that's this first one is the summary of all of the cores. If you find a yes on any of those, certainly you want to expand it. And so you can see more detail about which cores are throttling. If none of your cores are throttling, then this is probably not an explanation for the sluggishness. It could be an explanation for the fan ramping up, because the fan ramping up might keep the cores from throttling. So you still could have dust impacted into the CPU heatsink, even if you're not seeing throttling. But that would be an explanation of what's causing the fan to ramp up. But I would think, and I'm kind of hopeful, this would be good news. If your game sluggishness is due to thermal throttling, your CPU is running slower, that's good news, because you can probably just open the computer up and blow out the dust and have a significant improvement. Okay. None of them are throttling. Alice has already checked. All right. Speedy C, thanks for reading my comment. Sorry it was a long one. You are welcome. I do not discourage long comments. So I may not read it all into the video like you saw me do with Long Dog's email. Long Dog, oh man, I caught up in doing some computer tinking with that HP computer that I'm about to return to the customer. This is the one that you took it out of S mode, right? I caught up in doing some computer tinkering with that HP. Okay, good. Alice retracted a message. I do have a question from Long Dog. I just don't know how to phrase it. It has to do with that core isolation security page and getting little notifications in the taskbar from Microsoft Defender. How about you send me pictures? That might be a way to, since it's difficult to word it, if you take pictures and send those to me by email, we could respond to those. Alice, no mini PC review from Carrie today. True that. 924. You can address the situation by selecting dismiss, but it comes back. Yeah, send a picture. So I'm guessing that is, now is that core, is that from the HP you're working on? John Williams, hello. Probably the first time we've met with the all-in-one computers. First thing I'm interested in is the specs, especially with the complaint of running slow. As we know, it's all relative. Oh, Alice, tomorrow, let's do some all-in-one shopping. Yeah, because you'd asked about recommendations. So tomorrow on Windows Daily, unless there's somebody else with a problem, because Alice's computer purchase isn't urgent. If somebody else has a problem for us to address, we'll deal with that. But otherwise, tomorrow we'll do some all-in-one shopping, live, unscripted, unrehearsed. First thing I'm interested in specs, especially with the complaint running slow. As we all know, it's all relative. On this older system, it's under the second CPU. Yeah, I got that already. But typically, these computers that I run into are not impressive. As time goes on, the world has moved on kind of thing. Now, something about the all-in-ones, I think Long Dog made this comment before, that all the all-in-ones he's come across have been kind of low specs. That's not true about all-in-ones. You can buy a high-end all-in-one. You're not going to be able to get as high-end as a tower computer where you can have a water cooler or a better, more significant cooling. But a lot of the all-in-ones their target market is basic office use, basic home user use, web browsing, email, watching videos, not very challenging, but they do make higher all-in-ones. I've seen them. If you want to buy one of those, you're probably not going to find it on Amazon because it's not a very popular purchase for an all-in-one. So what I intend to do is go to Dell and Lenovo and HP, looking for their high-end all-in-ones to see what's available. It's a fairly simple thing to do. As far as I know, Alice may have already done it by the time just because I suggested that. But that's the way to look into it. And I would want to buy that from one of the manufacturers. I would not buy a high-end all-in-one from Amazon. You kind of, because as we've seen, a lot of times the descriptions don't, the top description usually matches what you get. Oh, this is my security camera system. Tell me about the pest control guy out front and bat. The descriptions in Amazon, the top paragraph is probably more accurate than the detail because they copy and paste, as Kerry Holzman has said many times on his channel. They'll copy and paste when they're putting a new item up for sale and the detailed description is not accurate. The comments, you can't count on the comments on a particular computer being comments for that specific model. So high-end all-in-one, I would want to buy directly from a manufacturer. Anyways, we will hopefully help you investigate. I think that was to Alice, yeah. John DeLondog, I will let you know what it is. Alice, my core max is currently 59 degrees. Core max, is that after having played the game and having the problems? Those temperatures, when you launch the hardware info, it starts accumulating since you last launched hardware info. So you need to have that open while you play the game and experience the sluggishness. Perhaps you want to do it with your graphics settings on high. And then after playing the game, go check those numbers. These numbers that are in hardware info, they are not accumulated since you last started the computer. They're accumulated since you last launched hardware info. None of them are throttling. 929 there. I'm working on an HP that I converted out of S mode, and while this machine doesn't have particularly awesome specs, shut up, cell phone. I wasn't talking to you guys. That was my cell phone. Shut up. I'm surprised at how well it is performing. It has 11th gen processor, 2.5 gigahertz, Alice, but I can run it again when the game runs. Great. Yeah, keep it running while the game is running. I wish I recalled the benchmark score, but it was okay. The computer, though, I think would be a fine one. The price is right. It would be great for my wife. Greg M., that is from Windows Defender option that some computers cannot be enabled the core isolation. Right. I think do you have to have XMP enabled to be able to do core isolation maybe? Alice says, sounds good to me. Thank you. Long Dog. Okay, Doug, I'll do my best to send you some screenshots. I was hoping you might ask, and I agree. It's so much easier to use pictures. And I would also like to talk about core isolation. I haven't researched it. I vaguely have an awareness of it. I've had other machines that do weird things when you turn on these extra security features. I'm not sure why Microsoft has intended for this feature to be turned on. Occasionally it causes problems. Anyway, and that's probably why it's not on by default. Anyways, we will hopefully discuss this in the future and hear your thoughts and your experiences. Greg M. Chewy did that for one of the computers that Carrie was live demoing last week. Chewy did that. Did what? It's something that we were talking about previously. Selden Ball, my impression is that some programs depend on modifying data that's in the program section, not in the data section. Apparently, they'll fail when core isolation is enabled. Yeah, that makes sense. I think core isolation is counterindicated or contraindicated in some situations, so it's off by default. There's my email address if you'd like to send a question or pictures or something you're dealing with or something you've observed that I can respond to or show on a Windows Daily. I invite you to do that. You do not need to ask, like Long Dog was implying he's hoping I would ask. No need to ask. You can send pictures and descriptions of what you're working on. If it's something you think that I could talk about during a Windows Daily, I would appreciate it. But don't expect a reply email. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Happy holiday. Goodbye.